Will everyone please rise as I invite Firefighter Regina Wilson to sing the national anthem.
Detail and salute.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And you.
Please remain standing for the invocation by Reverend Harding.
Detail, on call.
Almighty God, we are gathered before you this day to honor and remember Firefighter and United States Marine Corps Staff Sergeant Christopher Slutman. I ask that you be with the United States Marine Corps, the members and officers of Tower Ladder 17, Ladder 27, Engine 46, and I ask, Lord, especially that you be with Chris's family as they continue their lives without him. I ask that you be with all of us as we remember him and give thanks for his life of service and for his commitment to duty. And all this I ask in your name. Amen.
Detail, recall.
Will everyone please be seated? Good morning, everybody. My name is Captain Steve Moore, Ladder 27. I want to thank everyone for coming today to today's plaque dedication ceremony, honoring our fallen member, Firefighter Christopher Slutman, lost to us on April 8th, 2019. I would now like to introduce the members of our dais. Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Good morning.
Fire Commissioner Dan Nigro. Acting Chief of Department Thomas Richardson. First Deputy Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh. Chief of Staff Elizabeth Cassio. Acting Chief of Fire Operations John Hodgins. Chief of EMS Operations Lillian Bonsignor. Assistant Commissioner Evelyn Tesorario. Sorry if I mess up anybody's name, I apologize.
You're doing okay.
Bronx Borough Commander Christopher Boyle. Acting Bronx Borough Commander John Sirocco. Lieutenant Colonel James F. Colvin. Division 6 Commander James Donlevy. Battalion 17 Commander Chris Dougherty. Captain John McNamara, Engine Force 6. IAFF President Edward Kelly. UFOA President Jake LaMonda. UFA President Andrew Ansbro. Reverend Stephen Harding. We're especially honored to have the family of Christopher Slutman joining us here today. His wife Shannon, his children Kenley, McKenna, and Westland, his mother Mary, and his brothers Brian and Peter could not be with us today. And to his good friend Bruce, sorry, his other brother. I apologize, Bruce. I would like to introduce our first speaker today, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Thank you, Captain. It's really an honor to be with the members of Engine 46 and Ladder 27, all the members of FDNY who are here, paying tribute to a fallen hero, keeping a memory alive, standing by his family. This is what the FDNY does so honorably, so consistently, with such heart, year in, year out, generation after generation. And I thank you for that, and I honor you for that. And we are all honored in this place and in this city to be joined by the members of the United States Marine Corps. Your presence means a lot to us all today. Thank you, and thank you for all you do for this nation. Today, we pay tribute to a hero, and I can't think of many heroes who have done this much, honestly. Anytime you have to talk about someone with more than one title because they've served in so many ways, it tells you something right away. Firefighter is a noble title. Staff Sergeant is a noble title. Christopher Slutman chose to be both. And when I met him in 2014 at Medal Day, it was a joyous day. And Medal Day, as you all know, is a time of celebration. It's often a beautiful, sunny day, and people are really celebrating the very best of the FDNY and moments of triumph. And in that joyous moment, I met this good young man and did not know I'd never see him again. I only knew he was a hero. He had saved an unconscious woman in a burning building. And let's face it, many of you here think that that is all in a day's work, but for the vast majority of us, the notion of saving a single life would be our life's work. One life saved would be enough to say we did good here on this earth. But for so many of you, you aspire to that every year, every month, every week, every day. Certainly, Christopher Slutman proved his commitment, put it into action, saved a life, and then did so much more. Renowned as a firefighter, a veteran who showed everyone the right way to do things, and could have rested on his laurels easily. But he kept asking, what else can I do? And he wanted to serve his country. And that took him to Afghanistan, and that is where we lost him. He was there to protect all of us. He didn't have to be there, he chose to, and that makes him an even more remarkable man. So, when we say hero, we mean it. All of us, we're saluting a hero. In this city, we need our heroes. This last year especially, may have been the hardest year we've all been through. The most fearful, the most confusing, and yet there were so many heroes we saw. Our first responders, our healthcare heroes, so many people. And a lot of them, we will never know their names who did such amazing acts, and they never asked for their names to be remembered. Christopher didn't act heroically because he yearned for recognition. He did it because he believed it was right. And that is the truest kind of hero. So to you, Christopher's family, to Shannon, to Kenley, McKenna, Wesleyan, Brian, Mary, all of you, we will feel an eternal bond with you, and we owe an eternal debt. And one thing I know in my heart is the FDNY will always be there for you. That is a sacred bond. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we'll hear from Fire Commissioner Daniel Nigro.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor, for those remarks, and thank you for being here with us today. 2 years ago today, our department, our city, our country lost a true hero. Firefighter Christopher A. Slutman was taken from us as a result of injuries he suffered while bravely serving on active duty in Afghanistan. He was killed alongside his fellow Marines, Corporal Robert Hendricks and Sergeant Benjamin Hines, all three assigned to the 25th Marine Regiment, 4th Marine Division of the Marine Forces Reserve. He wore 2 uniforms in life, his life of service to others as a New York City firefighter and a staff sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. As a firefighter, he spent 15 years as a member of this great department. He served here in the Bronx at Ladder 17 and in this firehouse as a member of Ladder 27. He was a decorated member of the FDNY, having received the Fire Chiefs Association Medal in 2014 for rescuing an unconscious woman from a burning apartment in the South Bronx. That's the impact he made on the lives of others, going into harm's way to save others. His officers described him as a total professional and the type of firefighter that everybody wanted to have in their firehouse. Chris was someone that his fellow firefighters looked up to as well, for the manner in which he performed on the fire floor and for his selfless service to his country. It was not safe for us to meet in this manner a year ago in New York City, as we were the epicenter of COVID-19 in our country. Our members were risking their lives on every call, responding to fires and medical emergencies, not knowing who had the virus and who would be infected next. But today shows that no passage of time will ever remove Christopher from our memory. Here we are 1 year later, hopefully, and slowly emerging a little better each day from the shadow of this pandemic, and together, our department pays tribute to this extraordinary man who gave his life for our country. Shannon, you and your daughters and your entire family have been through an incredibly painful time. I'm sure this terrible year, due to the pandemic, has often made that pain more difficult to bear. Please know we are very grateful to have you with us this morning as we remember your husband and permanently memorialize him in this firehouse he called home. That's what this plaque means. Chris will always be remembered for his bravery, for all he did to save others every day of his outstanding career, and for how he protected and defended our country. This firehouse and the entire department will always be here for your family. May God bless firefighter Christopher Slutman, and may God continue to bless the New York City Fire Department.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, we will hear from Acting Chief of Department Thomas Richardson.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome once again to Shannon, McKenna, Kenley, Westland. Such beautiful names, really. And the girls have really cool sneakers on today, too, so I pointed that out before. But in the entire Slutman family and friends, thank you for being with us today for this ceremony to remember Chris. These plaque dedications are so important to the FDNY because this is how we pay tribute to our fallen members and how we make sure their dedication and service to this department, to the city, and in this case, to our country, lives on forever. I'd like to thank the officers and members of Engine 46, Ladder 27 for your efforts getting the firehouse ready for today. I want to say thank you to Steve and John, the captains, the company commanders. The place looks great. Thank you very much. Well done. Chris spent 15 years as a New York City firefighter. As you all know, the FDNY is a large family, and the officers and firefighters of 46 and 27, present and future, will be your extended family for a very long time. Chris was also proudly a United States Marine. As a point of information, we have over 1,400 members of the department that are either active reservists or veterans. It's a large number of people. These are special people. Chris was a decorated firefighter, as previously mentioned, receiving the Fire Chiefs Association Medal of Valor in 2014 for rescuing a woman from a fire in the Bronx. He truly led a life of service. A few years back, I had the privilege of participating in several trips to Walter Reed Medical Center and Bethesda Naval Hospital at the time with other members of the department to visit wounded members of our military to let them know that the FDNY had great admiration for them and simply wanted to say thank you. They, just like Chris, took up the fight for us after 9/11. I think I speak for most who participated in those trips that they were humbling, somewhat life-changing, and really an inspiration. Today, we pay tribute to Chris and acknowledge once more that the FDNY continues its promise to never forget. My dad was a Korean War Marine, proud. As I grew up and became a young teenager, I remember in my dining room at home, he had a framed poem on the wall all by itself. And he was extremely proud of it. I didn't recognize it until I was a little older, like I said, as a teenager. And this was the poem. It was called The Title, United States Marine. Here's what it says. It cannot be inherited, nor can it ever be purchased. You or no one alive can buy it for any price. It is impossible to rent, and it cannot be lent. You alone and our own have earned it with your sweat, blood, and lives. You own it forever, the title, United States Marine. I might argue, and hopefully my friends in the Marine Corps here won't be upset, we might use that same poem to describe a New York City firefighter. These titles are not careers, quite frankly. They're vocations. They're callings to something bigger than us. Chris's service was noble, it was selfless, and it was in the greatest traditions of bravery and service to our country and to the FDNY. We can never forget that. And this plaque that will be unveiled shortly ensures that fact. We call these ceremonies plaque dedications. The words dedication and commitment are synonymous. While both words refer to a strong feeling of loyalty and strong support for someone or something, I can say the word commitment can also refer to an obligation or a pledge. So today, we are pledging that the plaque being dedicated will also serve as a memorial to Chris. This memorial plaque will serve as a remembrance, a reminder of who he was, what his sacrifice was, and most importantly, it will be here forever. To the current and future members of this firehouse and to all those in the neighborhood that this firehouse protects, Chris's memory will continue to live on. That is our solemn duty. As new members come here, they too will learn his story. We need to make sure that his story is told. By doing that, he will continue to inspire others for generations to come. I want to once again say thank you to all the members here for their efforts, and especially thank Shannon and your family for being here today to pay tribute to Chris. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Chief. Next, we will hear from UFA Vice President Robert Eustace.
Thank you. My name is Bobby Eustace. I'm a member of Ladder 27, and I'm also the UFA Vice President. I had the pleasure and honor of working with Chris, and also was able to help Shannon post this. And there's a gentleman in the back here says oftenly that your role in the union begins, in front of a church. And we serve and protect the community, and our role begins serving and protecting the family post that. And everything that's been said here, I thought about what I was going to say, and there's a sign in front of this firehouse that says dedication, duty, courage, honor. And I thought, that describes Chris, but so many of these other words describe Chris. And I thought, how would I remember him? How would stand out for me and for all guys here? And I just thought consistent excellence is what I thought. The greatest compliment you can give someone in the fire department is say they're a good fireman. That's the greatest compliment you can get. And Chris was, always. Something I've always enjoyed is for some of our biggest ceremonies, we go to Medal Day and we go to Memorial Day. They're mandatory events. You're told you show up and you be there. And in the back of Memorial Day, there's many hand salutes. And if you're not familiar with our ceremonial unit, many people here are, you're not, they're the best in the business. They're, through trial and tragedy, unfortunately, but they're the best in the business. So when everybody gives a hand salute, one of my little giggles on the side is to watch everybody give the hand salute. So we do a lot of drilling and training on a lot of different things, but hand salute is not one of them. Okay. So there's a whole rundown of ones that you'll see. You'll see the Cub Scout. You'll see the Boy Scout. You'll see the Pirate. You'll see the Karate Chop. You'll see the Who Goes There. You'll see that It's Too Sunny. And you'll see my all-time favorite, which I heard about, and then I saw it 3 times because I thought it was a myth, the Ready 2. Okay. I saw it 3 times. It was unbelievable. But I bring this up because we're at Police Officer Ramos's funeral on the Grand Concourse, and the NYPD ceremonial unit. Again, this is a compliment to ours, not a disrespect to their ceremonial unit, is the best in the business. They go into the church and the hymn begins and everything like that, and the police department disperses. And we're standing there, and Chris is locked. You won't move. And so we're like, all right, I'm not going to move. Chris is moving. All right. So now, traffic's coming. And, the police are moving. We're like, Chris, I think the street sweeper's going to move. He won't move. 15 minutes, he won't move. And then finally, I think there might have been a couple other guys that were in this boat. Someone was like, all right, dismissed. And then he broke down. He's pouring sweat and everything like that. But consistent excellence. Consistent excellence is just, what comes to mind with Chris, that he was solid at all times, dependable. It's something that you could easily be taken for granted, but it never was. It never was with us. So that's something that we always remember and always take with us. So with that being said, I'd like to invite Billy Greco, the Bronx trustee, and Andy Ansbro, the UFA president, to present a plaque to Shannon and the family. Yeah. The plaque reads, in loving memory of firefighter Christopher Slutman, Ladder Company 27, September 14, 2003 to September 8, 2019. In everlasting tribute to his dedicated service, Uniform Firefighter Association. Bronx trustee William Greco, Andrew Ansbro, president.
Thank you, Bobby. Next, we will hear from United States Marine Corps, Captain Brian Bathauer and Gunnery Sergeant Christopher Bamfell.
Short. Good morning. Thank you to the FDNY for having this, Shannon for inviting me, Slutman family. My name is Captain Brian Bathauer. I was Chris's team leader on the deployment. I knew him for just under a year. We worked together for that time on the deployment, and in that time, I got to know Chris as Staff Sergeant. And on the surface, Staff Sergeant was a serious, quiet, reserved kind of guy. A little bit uptight, very meticulous guy. We find him cleaning his room for hours at a time, vacuuming nooks and crannies, things that people don't do, especially on a deployment. But he kind of just kept to himself. And he had this kind of quirky sense of humor that he would bust out every now and then and just have me rolling. And I don't even know if he meant to be funny half the time, but he'd get me going. And he is the originator of our beloved Creeper call sign. So what began as kind of a sarcastic, funny idea for a call sign became our identity. And Shannon, you remember that mustache? That was hideous. Creepy, at an embodied creeper. And it became our identity. And the call sign gave our team what it needed at the time, and it brought us together. And so we kind of have Chris to thank for that. Chris was our team chief, essentially platoon sergeant for our small group. And I'd often joke that I was the daddy, but Chris had 10 years on me and 20 years on some of the other Marines. So I don't know if that would make him granddaddy or daddy, but he rolled with it. He didn't let that slow him down. He would go to Staff Sergeant Lytle's McMat program every day and get thrashed, fighting 20-year-old kids. Never complain about it. Just walk back to his room. I'd open the door and find him sprawled out on the floor, laying on his back, just in obvious pain. He'd see me, and he'd pull his gigantic body up from his bed that sat a foot off the floor and wince the whole way up, and then act like nothing happened. Because I think Chris was just that kind of guy. He didn't want to show weakness. He didn't want to draw any unwanted attention to himself. And that was Staff Sergeant. What's special to me now was being able to talk with him on a personal level. We got away from the professional mode rarely, but we got to talk as people. And that's where I got to learn more about Chris as a person. His love of horrible cheap beer, his firefighting career. I had no idea the caliber of firefighter that Chris was because he just wouldn't tell you those kind of things. Just the most humble guy. But I was in the process of being hired at the fire department that I work for in Illinois now, and Chris would check on me constantly and just kind of reassure me that the career that I was jumping into was an awesome job and the best. And he just loved being a firefighter so much. It was so obvious. And I remember finding out after the fact about his award that he received for pulling that woman out of the high-rise fire. Things that guys at my department, if that happened, they would be beating their chests for the rest of their careers. But Chris just wouldn't talk about that. Humble guy. And I remember, Shannon, you told me that Chris was a good Marine, but he was a great firefighter. And that certainly seems to check out today. But like, again, Chris just wouldn't tell you those kind of things. Just humble guy. Chris and I got to talk on the deployment about some deeper topics. We talked about Afghanistan and our roles out there. And I remember Chris told me once that he had a feeling that he would leave Afghanistan unfulfilled, as if he didn't make a difference out there. And coming from a guy that literally gave his life in Afghanistan in service to the country. I think that kind of speaks to the kind of person that Chris was quite a bit. Chris would also constantly talk about his family. And girls, he loved you guys so much. Shannon, guys joke about their wives all the time on deployments. I never heard Chris say a single negative thing towards you at all. It was obvious how much he loved you and respected you as a person, and once I got to meet you, that all made sense. This woman is just a tough and admirable woman. I'm sure everyone in this room knows that, but it made sense to me once I got to meet her. And Chris was a great firefighter, but I think what he took the most pride in was being a dad and a husband, and being the best dad and husband that he could. So I know you guys miss him. I miss him. Nothing can or ever will replace him. But the kind of person, Marine firefighter that he was, we should all be proud of forever. And I'm proud to have known him. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for your presence here to honor Staff Sergeant Slutman. Thank you, Shannon, McKenna, Westland, for being here. And to all the members of Ladder 27, Engine 46, the Commissioner, the Mayor, and all guests here in attendance, thank you. To the Gold Star families, you guys truly know and understand service to country and the sacrifice that it takes with its uncertainty. Shannon, McKenna, Kenley, Westland, your father, Christopher Kenley Eldrick Slutman, was a hero amongst heroes. Staff Sergeant Slutman was a calm, tempered, and coordinated Marine who I'd had the pleasure to know throughout the course of the deployment. From our work up in Virginia Beach to our training exercise in Georgia and Germany, and then into combat operations in Afghanistan. Excuse me. Staff Sergeant Slutman was always balanced, and his guidelines were always tempered to prevent any mitigations within the task or the mission. I admired Staff Sergeant Slutman's dedication to his family. While Marines were always working out, and talking about nonsense, you would always see or hear Staff Sergeant Slutman phone call, FaceTime in the family. And that's just a testament that I admire him as a father and you as a wife to your 3 amazing kids. We will continue to keep his legacy going as we shared our laughs and stories within the convoy heading back. Many family and friends know of service members' commitment to service, but I want all to know gathered here today that this Marine, Staff Sergeant Slutman, along with Sergeant Hendricks, Staff Sergeant Benjamin Hines, gave up more than their lives. They brought a forgotten recognition that service members in the reserve component too face many dangers abroad when called to serve. So when you hear freedom is not free, know that on this day, April 8th, 2019, we lost 3 great Marines we all are indebted to, who continue to keep the flag of freedom alive with their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We will now hear from Firefighter Christopher Slutman's good friend, Captain Craig Critchlow.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to say it's an honor to be up here to talk about my friend, Christopher Slutman. When I came here today, they told me to try to keep it short. And the first thing I thought was, how do I keep it short when I talk about someone who was 6'4" tall? I thought to myself, this is a member that I've worked with for 9 years. How do I keep it short when I'm talking about someone who trusted their life in my hands? Someone who never questioned my decision-making, but someone who would crawl down hallways with me, someone who would go into the depths of darkness with me, a member who, in the hottest of fires, would take a knee next to me as we watched the flames roll over our heads, never wanting to bail, never wanting to make a move, but would be comfortable next to me as if he had ice water in his veins. If we were to do a movie about Christopher Slutman, it wouldn't be a short film. If we did a movie about Christopher Slutman, it would have to be a trilogy, because we'd have to talk about all the different aspects of Christopher Slutman that many of us got a chance to know and love. The first thing would be his dedication, and that would be his dedication to the military. Christopher Slutman served 2 tours with the military overseas. Never complained, never showed any signs of weakness, but did what his duty was called for. He showed the discipline that he learned from the military when he would come to the fire department, and the dedication he had to his firefighting family. The members that he served with in the fire department, Christopher was always early to work. Christopher always was in uniform, properly in uniform. He was always clean shaven. Although if you look at his picture, it looks like he has a baby face, so I don't know if he actually had to shave or it was just naturally like that. But Christopher Slutman was always the kind of person that I could count on. If I had to give orders to, if I had to delegate responsibilities to, Chris would carry them out without any questions. And the other thing with Christopher's dedication would be the overall dedication, which is his dedication to his family. When I first met Chris and in the early stages of us working together, Chris and Shannon had 2 dogs, 2 cats. I think they had a rabbit. I mean, any animal you could think about, those 2 were raising together. And as time went on, then they had their 3 beautiful daughters. And Chris, as you have heard before, loved his family. It changed his projection as far as firefighting, because now he knew he was working for a higher cause. He was working for his family. And he had to make sure that he returned home to his family. But we must not overlook the reason that we were able to have a person like Christopher Slutman, a focused person like we did with Christopher Slutman, is because Shannon was home holding everything down. Shannon gave him the ability to come to work and dedicate himself to work, because he knew at home everything was at peace and everything was going to be safe. Also, when I think about Christopher Slutman, I think about his attention to detail. Chris was the type of person, when he would drive me, he paid attention to every single detail of the apparatus. If I asked a lot of the seated chauffeurs out there, what do they pay attention to? They might tell me the aerial ladder, the bucket, the warning devices. But Christopher Slutman would make you feel like he just brought that apparatus into a Honda inspection, like he was doing a 28-point inspection on this apparatus. He would check everything from the windshield wipers down to the depth of the tires. If the apparatus was going out for preventive maintenance, here comes Chris with a list for me. Everything would be on that list, 15 to 20 different things on that apparatus that he felt needed to be changed or fixed. And I would have to look at Chris and say, Chris, this is New York City Fire Department. This isn't the Volleys. We get an apparatus every 10 years, which really spilled into the 11th year, not every 2. But he didn't care. He felt that these were the important things about the apparatus that needed to be repaired. And so I would take his list and I would go over his list and I would look at it and I say, Slutty, you forgot something on here. And he'd say, what's that, Lieutenant? I say, you didn't put the flux capacitor on here. He would just laugh with that high-pitched laugh, right, Shannon? That little high-pitched laugh he had, that little southern accent he had, that little southern drawl. And he would just say, oh, that's cold, Lieutenant, that's cold. But that's the kind of person that he was when it came to his family, the job, and the military. The next thing that we would have to talk about with Christopher Slutman, though, is his leadership. And he showed leadership in many different ways. Young members could always count on Christopher Slutman to show them how to use tools, how to help them with their tactics and procedures. But the one thing that I saw about Christopher Slutman that showed his true leadership was when he overheard members talking about positions, and positions that they wanted to take or maybe they wasn't too fond of. Chris, overhearing this, didn't say a word. He listened to the members, and all he said was, you guys are talking about that position, I'll take that position for 100 tours. Every day that he came to work, he took the same position for 100 tours. If somebody offered him something different, nope, I'll take that same position for 100 tours. And when his 100 tours were over, his aim was to show people it's not the position that's important, it's the person behind the position. It's the knowledge that you bring to that position. That's more important than worrying about the position that you're given for the tour. So what I want to say in honor of my friend Christopher Slutman and to you, Shannon, today when I met with you, the first thing you said to me was that you're so happy that it's such a shiny day, it's such a sunny day. And my thing that I want you to remember is when we marched down Fifth Avenue in honor of Chris, it was raining. But that's just the heavens opening up their gates for Chris. And the harder it opened up, the harder it rained, the more the gates opened up. That was the heavens receiving their angel back. So although we may miss him in the physical form, he lives in my mind. He always lives in my mind. And he will always live in my heart. And he will always be around us in the spiritual form. Thank you.
Craig, that was beautiful. Well said, man. Great job. We will now hear from Firefighter Christopher Slutman's wife, Shannon Slutman.
Yeah, that was rough. Ooh, that one's hard to follow. Huh. Give me a second while I catch my breath. I think that's actually a great introduction because the first thing on my list that I wanted to talk about today was a thank you, because the girls and I would not be here today. We would not be as strong as we are today if it wasn't for all of you, if it wasn't for the Family Assistance Unit and Evelyn, Joe the Living Saint LaPointe, and the Ceremonial Unit. You walked in on our worst day, and in your own words, Joe, wherever you are, you took away some of the crisis, some of the worry, and you made things better. And you helped me not think. And that, especially when I had no brain at the time, was everything. The FDNY has been with us every step of the way. And we are so blessed to have not one but two firehouses who have our back. And we know that you have our back. And I'm not sure what we would do without 60 and 17 and 46 and 27, because you guys have been our backbone through this whole thing, and you may not feel like it, but you have been, and we love you dearly. To the Marine Corps, you went through so much with Chris. At least it's just Brian. It's called Chris Breaking the Ice, so I don't cry. What you don't know is some of the people that are sitting here were with Chris and Ben and Robbie when they passed away. And for them to be here today is a big deal. It was hard, and they leave scars. And many of you that are sitting here have scars on your hearts that don't ever heal. And we thank you for being here, and we thank you for everything that you do for our country every day. And we have your back. And we are so proud to have you with us today. And finally, to all of our beautiful friends who are beautiful collateral, that you would not be in our lives if it wasn't for some of the horrible things that we've gone through. And we love you dearly. So thank you for everything. We love you. We appreciate you. To our family. And Bruce, you are my backbone. So thank you for our midnight calls. We so dearly appreciate you. As been said so many times over, Chris was attracted to excellence. Because he was excellence, but he was attracted to the best, and he always wanted to be around the best of the best. So whether it was being part of the FDNY, being part of the United States Marine Corps, or I think we've got some in the back, some of the members of the Kentland Volunteer Fire Department, he always wanted to be around the people that were the best because he liked to be better, and he was always striving to be better. And it was just part of who he was. He didn't know how to be content. And there were times that I really wish he would just relax and be content, but he didn't know how to do that. One of my happiest days, and we've mentioned many, many times the medal that he got, or that he earned, and one of my happiest days was the day that he was content. And that was after all the ceremonies and everything were over on Medal Day, and we were at the Coalition. And he was just so happy. And he wasn't happy because he got a medal. He was happy because he was around all of you, and because he was around the traditions, and he was around the best people who were just celebrating, what is it? It's Truck Celebration Day? Is that what it is? Yeah. But he loved it. It was a great day. And he was thrilled. I was pregnant with Wesleyan. The girls were so excited because somebody managed to hoist Chris's 6'5", don't short him an inch there, Craig, frame up on somebody's shoulders. And, I don't remember if it was Jimmy who said it or who, but, the last stop on the Coalition is always the Bronx. And I was told it's because the Bronx has the best party. And but it was amazing because then the bagpipes came in and they hoisted him up on their shoulders, and he had, I'm pretty sure, some cheap beer in his hand, and he was just happy and he was content. And that was not something that you always saw about him, but he was happy to be part of the FDNY, and he was just so proud of you all. Excuse me. Chris was, like we said, he was a very private person. He was not one to be boastful. He didn't tell people about his medal. That wasn't what he did. He didn't pound his chest about being a Marine. It was just who he was, and you could kind of usually spot it because of the haircut. But there were certain things that he would do that were quiet, and he did it just to be a good person because that was who he was. And I've told the story to a couple of people. We were down at Quantico getting ready to run a race, and we were in a restaurant, and Chris looked at me, he's like, we got to go hit an ATM. I'm like, okay. So we go out and we paid our bill and we went out and hit an ATM. He takes out several $100s. And we walked back into the restaurant where we had just been. And we waited at the door for him. And he goes over to 2 different tables. And you could tell they were, grunts. And he puts money at each of the tables. And he tells the guys, you take care of each other. You have each other's back. And then he just walked out. Chris didn't post it on Facebook. He didn't tell anybody else about it. He didn't text anybody. It wasn't a grand gesture. He just did it. It was just what he did. And that's just one example of some of the things that he would do in order to promote excellence in others and to just be consistent about how the kind of character that he had. I'll tell one last story about his strive for excellence. And some of the guys, after we went to Arlington, we stopped off at Kentland where he volunteered for years. And the guys got a run. And the guys took off like a shot. And a bunch of the guys looked around like, is this how they get out for every run? And I just laughed and I said, yeah, it's what they do. Early in our dating, he was there cleaning out his room and they got a call. He wasn't even on the board to go get on a fire truck. And he just about flattened me trying to get to the fire truck because he just needed to make sure that Kentland did what they were supposed to do and that they were able to get out the door and keep up their legacy of being the first ones there. He loved to be around excellence. He loved to be around people that wanted to be better and that wanted to be the best. Chris didn't know how to quit. This is something that kind of kept rattling around in my head when I was thinking about, what to say. And there are some certain things that people have touched on that were very fitting for that. I mean, for him to join the the FDNY as a Southerner, it makes me laugh. Maryland's not the South, but as a Southerner, it took, and you all say he had an accent, but it took a lot of work. It took, Bruce can tell you how many countless train rides and tests and practice tests, and it took a lot. It took him years. And he got his letter right after we started dating, and I'm like, go for it. You need to do this. This was his childhood dream, and he made it happen. You know, when he was joining the Marines, he was there with kids that he was 12 years older than. 12 years older. He was older than his drill instructors. You're not supposed to join the Marine Corps at 30. You're just not. It's not normal. So as a result, he was always so much older than everybody. But he didn't know how to quit. We once gutted out a marathon that we didn't train for. He just looked at me and was like, we'll be fine. I'm like, okay. So 26.2 miles later, no training, we crossed the finish line. We could actually walk the next day too. It was kind of surprising, but he didn't know how to quit. He once ran, I don't know if Jerry's in the back there, but he ran a Spartan race with a couple of the guys from 60 and 17. He had pneumonia. I was like, you can't run a race with pneumonia. He did it, and he carried one of his friends through part of the race along the way too, because you don't leave a man behind. No quit in him whatsoever. He once got a perfect score on a CFT with multiple bulging discs that left him unable to stand up straight because he didn't want to ask for a pass while he's laughing. But he didn't want to ask to retake it on another weekend. You're supposed to take it that weekend? That's what you do. You follow the directions. Most recently, Wally, we found out that he passed his McMap black belt with 2 broken ribs. That's not normal. Chris was not normal. Which takes me into my extremely cheesy point, and I apologize ahead of time for this, but a close personal friend once said that Chris reminded him of Captain America, that Chris would always just laugh him off. He just thought that was funny. But over the last couple of months, the girls and I have been watching a lot of Marvel series, and there are a lot of similarities. And in addition to just being squeaky clean, I think that, he's our Captain America. Without a doubt. Captain America was a paragon of duty, honor, and loyalty, and so was Chris. So, with that said, I have one last quote that I'm going to end with, and it actually comes from Miss Kenley. Kenley wrote a beautiful essay for one of her classes, and I think she is completely on point with her last statement here. She said, "I love my dad because he was always thinking of me. He was really brave, and he was always there for me. I think this is important because he was a hero to all, and he would do anything for his family and his country. He would help his family, the other Marines, his friends, and his country get things all squared away." And I think we can all agree right now, we would like to get things all squared away in this country. So nicely said. Thank you to everybody. Thank you for remembering Chris. And thank you for making who he was part of who you are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shannon. We will now commence with the dedication of the plaque.
Ladies and gentlemen, the second row and third row, okay, please step up.
This plaque reads, dedicated to the memory of firefighter Christopher A. Slutman, Ladder Company 27, who made the supreme sacrifice while serving his country in Operation Inherent Resolve as a staff sergeant with the 25th Marine Regiment, 4th Marine Division in Parwan Province, Afghanistan. And the plaque is dated April 8th, 2019.
Detail, uncover.
Almighty God, this plaque is not big enough to encompass the life and the attributes and the character of firefighter Christopher Slutman. We thank you for his drive and commitment to excellence, his dedication to duty, and the love that he had, not only for his family, but for his country and others. May our hearts be as big as his, and may we continue to strive for excellence. May this plaque be blessed by you and by all who read it and who remember him. And all this we ask in your name. Amen.
Detail, recover. Everyone please rise. Detail, hand salute. Ready, two. Okay, back to the seats.
Just want to give a special thanks to Chief Lear and his team from Patrol Borough of the Bronx and the 408 precinct for all their assistance He's the NYPD Bronx Borough Commander. Thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the New York City Mayor, Fire Commissioner, Acting Chief of Department, and other members of the dais, we want to thank you for attending today's very special ceremony. What a terrific show of love for our fallen brother, Christopher Slutman. Rest assured, none of us will ever forget him. This concludes the plaque dedication ceremony. Thank you again, and have a nice day.